Hello and welcome to Nintendo Nightly, your Monday through Friday source for everything Nintendo. My name is Michael Cottrell, your host, and today on the show we just have one game to cover for you. Kirby Battle Royale was just released on the Nintendo 3DS. There was a demo that I covered earlier on that wasn't very wide in its reach and kind of restricted online battle and some of the stuff you'd probably want to see how much fun you had with it before you tested it. But here we are with the full $40 version. And therein lies my first criticism of the game. The $40 part of it, it just seems a little steep for what you're getting. So there's a little over 10 different mini games. There's what looks to be maybe like 15 or so abilities. I haven't unlocked them all yet. But there's not a whole lot of depth to the game. I mean, there's the main battle mode that pits you against a bunch of other Kirbys, and you can choose your ability and do like 2-on-2 or free-for-all. And what's interesting, I mean, it's interesting to see the different team compositions you can come up with, but I mean, as I said in my original preview of the game, you can only go so deep with a game that is centering around fighting when there's no dodging or blocking maneuvers. It's just certain attacks, and certain attacks will take priority over other attacks, like the charged tornado beam. There's some abilities that are a little more creative than others. The ninja ability seems to have the most vibrant tool set of all the ones I've looked at. The doctor can heal himself, and the bug one can get certain like grapple hits. That's a little more useful in mini games than it is in the battle mode, but that one does hit for some pretty significant damage. And there's other abilities like Cutter that just seem kind of out of place. They don't seem super competitive, but great. So this is based off of like an hour or so of play. I don't have a whole lot of experience to speak on the deeper meta game, but I think the point I'm trying to make here is that there probably isn't one. As far as the single player goes, you've got a story mode to follow that has a very short tutorial period where it takes you through a little bit of a stage, and I feel like that's kind of a template for what this game could have been in a single player sense. To have these different places that you go through, maybe some form of platforming challenge, which is always kind of weird in Kirby games, as you can kind of float infinitely, but you know, some sense of jumping around and dodging things and obstacles would have been nice, but as far as I can tell, that's just the intro portion of the game, and then you're in this very small hub, and by very small hub, I mean like a room, and there you'll have the option to either do training or to do make your way through the main game, which puts you in these leagues. You do different types of battles. It's kind of functions as a training mode in itself. You play against computer characters that are rising in difficulty. They start incredibly easy. I mean, I just remember the first like Apple battle I did. I think I got triple the score of the computer players. So it's a pretty slow weaning process to get you off of the really easy comms and off of the ability that you start with. You earn abilities throughout the story mode, giving you a little bit of variation in play, but it doesn't seem to be much more than that. I mean, and as far as like, you know, a story mode in a Kirby game, I mean, come on, it's a Kirby game. There's not going to be like some, you know, shocking revelation that comes in the later portion of it that's really going to shock you. It's just, you know, it's a backdrop for what you're doing. So that being said, the online game is where this shines, and I've had some problem with lag, both on the connection that I have here at the office and the connection that I have. I used my hotspot. It seems like there's, I don't know if the problem is just with other people's connections or with their DS. Well, when this game lags, it royally lags and kind of sours the experience. The 3DS has this weird interface, and some older consoles and systems do as well, where they don't interface as well with the new router technology that's being put out. So it could be a little wonky sometimes with the 3DS. I'm going to test that a little bit more at home, but I have been having some problems. It could also be just like a day one thing. I don't know if they're hosting the connection from your system or from a server, but the online mode, when it works, is really fun. I don't really appreciate how the mini games that are selected are random. I wish it would kind of give you a choice. You get to choose one, but then, a la Mario Kart 8, it's going to choose a random selection from all the people that are in the same lobby, and then it's also going to place you on a random team. It doesn't look like you have much of an option for like teaming up with your friends or anything like that. There's ranked battles, and then it doesn't look like any other choices. So that's kind of wacky, because it just and yeah, like I haven't put too much time in this game, but it looks like you just have the choice of either going ranked or playing specifically with your friends. Yeah, so you just have the option for local multiplayer or for the online battle to be single player and ranked. So that's a bummer, a huge bummer, honestly, because I was thinking while playing this, it'd be a lot of fun to get my brother on the same page and play tag battles online with him, but it doesn't look like that's a possibility. I don't know if that unlocks later in the game, if that's something that they're eventually going to do. This is the same problem I had with Splatoon. That in order to choose to be on the same team in a team-based game, you had to play in Splatoon 2 a specific mode that you had to grind it out and win enough times in a row to get there. And that's extra ironic because you're trying to get there and win a bunch of matches in a row with a bunch of strangers who you can't strategize with. So you have like a 25% influence on how the team is doing to try and like grind your way up to be able to play together. And it doesn't look like it's an option at all in this game. And it's so weird. It's very tone deaf of Nintendo to make a game that is going to live and breathe through its multiplayer and to make the multiplayer very restrictive in the options that it has. Smash Brothers did the same thing. You couldn't play Team Battle with a stock match with random people in the Wii U version of Super Smash Bros. You could either play in their quote-unquote competitive 2-on-2 team match where they put a 2-minute timer on it, which isn't how anybody plays competitive Smash, or you can get a bunch of friends together and request them, but there's not a way to just battle random people that way. And it's a shame. It's a shame because under this, the Kirby game is good. It's fun. I would have a blast playing this online with people, but that option is not there. In fact, when you go to the regular multiplayer, you just have the choice of ranked, or you have the choice of battle mode, which only lets you do local play. So yeah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. Real shame here. So honestly, if you're looking for something to play on your 3DS, a little bit of a different Kirby experience, if you're a fan of that franchise, I think there is some stuff to love here, but I would personally wait until you can get this on a steep discount, which I don't think would be very long off, because $40 is that's a steep asking price for this game, especially considering all the other titles that Nintendo is recently or is about to discount that are just much more solid games. I mean, to think that you could get a game as rich in content as Linked Between Worlds for $20 starting in February, I mean, that's just money much better spent. But that is my opinion. To those of you out there who have played it, what do you think of it? Do you agree with these opinions or disagree? I would love to know what you think and start a little dialogue in the comments section of this show. And that'll be it for today's show on Nintendo Nightly. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether that's on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook, or now we are trying to put up the show on Twitch. So if you want to go to twitch.tv and search for Nintendo Nightly. I've never used Twitch before, honestly, so it's a little bit of a new thing. I will link to that channel in the description of however you're listening now. And yeah, I hope to see you in future episodes. If you have any feedback for the show, let me know by either tagging in the comments or writing into me at thebentoblock.com/Nintendo Nightly. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on Monday for some more Nintendo goodness.